Hi, Robin. So,
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, I'm glad. I just want to say that last week's episode stirred up a lot, not just for me, but I think for you too. Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
yeah. Well, it brought up this familiar tightness in my chest, the kind that says, "Ugh, I've been carrying this for decades without realizing it." You, Robin, said afterward, right after we hit stop, that it was one of those episodes you needed to sit with. Because it touched that raw, tender place between grief and clarity. Talking about emotionally immature parents means looking directly at the gaps we didn't even know were shaping us. And sometimes the realization doesn't hit like a bolt, it hits like a slow ache, the kind that sits in your chest when you start to see just how long you've been the one holding it all. Today, we're digging into one of the most invisible survival roles, the child who becomes the emotional adult. This episode builds directly on what we explored last time, because when the adults in your life are emotionally immature or unavailable, someone has to hold the emotional weight. And too often, that someone was you, the parentified child, the one who stepped into the emotional adult seat long before they were ready. We're calling this episode Parentified but Emotionally Starved, because that's exactly what it feels like. You look like the strong one, but inside, you are running on empty.
So, wherever you are, whether you're folding laundry, walking the dog, or laying in bed trying to rest, take a breath with us. Maybe you're multitasking. Maybe you're even holding back some tears. Maybe you don't even know how you're feeling, and that's okay too. You don't need to perform presence here. You don't need to be anything but exactly how you are in this moment. There's no one right way to listen. If you're fidgeting, zoning out, half present, totally in it, all of it is welcome. This episode is for the ones who were told they were mature for their age, but no one ever asked why. For the ones who stayed calm while the adults spiraled, and for the ones who became reliable before they ever felt safe. For those who can't remember ever feeling carefree, we see you. You adapted beautifully, and we're really glad you're here.
Let's start with something we've both witnessed a lot, and something that feels especially tender for Gen Xers and those even a little older. Realizing this in midlife. Realizing that what you lived through wasn't just how it was. It was emotional labor your child self never should have had to carry. For many Gen Xers, and honestly, for people across generations, emotional immaturity wasn't seen as neglect. It's just normal. The adults didn't talk about feelings, they didn't have time. And you were told to be grateful when you were actually confused or really hurting.
Exactly. And when you grow up in that kind of environment, your nervous system learns to find safety through usefulness, through being the calm one, stable one, the one who doesn't really take up space. Parentification isn't always about physical caregiving. Sometimes it's sitting at the kitchen table while your parent cries and tells you too much. It's learning to read the way the keys drop on the counter to know what kind of night it's going to be. It's becoming the calm one, the one who knows how to say the right thing to diffuse tension at age 8. It's emotional labor in its rawest form, carried silently by a child who just wanted safety. And it doesn't stop in childhood. It can echo into adulthood in ways we often don't recognize until we're exhausted. Exhausted from being the one everyone calls during a crisis, struggling to let a partner support you without guilt, feeling safest when you're helping, and most anxious when you need help. It's a role that keeps showing up long after you've outgrown the age you were trained to carry it.
It can look like being the peacemaker, the one who reads everyone's mood before walking into a room, the one who knows better than to cry, complain, or cause trouble. You instead become useful, capable, and easy because that's what keeps things stable.
Right. And the world rewards you for it. And here's the conflict. It feels good, right? Being seen as capable, being told that you're wise, it gave you something to hold on to. But it also locked you in because the more mature you were, the less anyone thought to ask what you needed. You're such a good helper. You're so mature. You're wise beyond your years. I know we've probably heard some of those. And maybe that praise helped you feel safe or at least seen. It gave you a role, a purpose, something to anchor to when everything else really felt shaky. And underneath that role, you were really emotionally starved. Okay, our nervous system nugget. Hypervigilance isn't attunement. When you grow up having to track the moods and needs of the people around you, your body becomes wired for micro survival. You develop this superpower of sensing everything. But it's not rooted in connection, it's rooted in protection. You're constantly scanning, looking for the next shift, trying to stay ahead of the next upset. And that can feel like empathy or intuition, but really it's your nervous system bracing.
I cannot wait for people to hear this one because they really need this information. It's like being an emotional smoke detector, always on, always alert, just beeping, going off. I've lived in that mode for way too long at times myself. And after a while, you just stop trusting your own feelings because your entire system is oriented around them.
Yes. And you lose track of your body's cues. Hunger, fatigue, joy, anger. All of it gets buried under the need to manage. Until one day, maybe you realize, I've been performing safety, not really experiencing it.
So, what does that role do to us as adults? You might become the overfunctioner in every relationship. You're the one who fixes things, holds people up, and never asks for help. Your system might interpret rest as risk. Stillness might feel foreign or even unsafe. When someone tries to care for you, your body might brace instead of soften. Or maybe you attract people who need rescuing because that's the only dynamic you've ever known.
Or you carry a quiet ache beneath the caretaking. You keep showing up for everyone else, even when part of you wonders, when is someone going to show up for me? And that ache, it often turns inward, I should be able to handle this. I can't let anyone down. I'm not allowed to fall apart.
Pete Walker calls this the superhuman syndrome. It's the belief that if you're not holding it all together, everything will collapse.
Right. And the truth is, you were never meant to carry it all in the first place. A client once shared something that struck with me. She said, I know I was healing when I didn't return a text right away. And along with that, I didn't feel guilty about it. And that right there, that's that rewire, that pause, that moment where you're no longer chasing that approval through that sense of usefulness. And honestly, I've had moments like that too, those quiet ones that don't look like much on the outside. And on the inside, everything shifts. It's not always huge. It's not always those noticing moments that everybody's going to see, but you notice. And sometimes healing is as quiet as like unclenching your jaw for the first time in hours, or just like paying attention to your size. As soft as just even realizing your shoulders dropped without you asking them to. You just kind of did it. It's choosing not to respond and noticing your heart didn't race. Your breath stayed even. In your body, it finally felt like it belonged to you.
Okay, so here's something that's helped me and a lot of my clients when that fixer energy kicks in. We call this name it and place it. Step 1, name the part of you that's showing up. Choose 1 or 2 roles that show up most often for you. Maybe it's the fixer, the calm one, or the invisible one. That name helps anchor the awareness and creates a little space between you and the survival role. Step 2, place your hand on your chest or your belly or wherever that energy lives in your body. And say gently, I see you. You don't have to take over right now.
This tool helps you separate from the role without shaming it. You're not trying to erase that part of you. You're letting it know it's safe to soften. You're building trust. And that's what reparenting really is. So here's something I want you to think about this week. What did you need to hear as a child that no one ever said to you? Now, try saying it aloud or in writing. Say it from your voice, in your tone, with your rhythm. And let it be awkward or soft or strong. Say it to the version of you who needed it most. That part is still there, still listening, still in you, and still worthy of care.
Next week, we're talking about sensitivity, especially what happens when our sensory and emotional experiences were unwelcome. We'll explore masking, neurodivergence, and what it means to begin unmasking in safe, supported ways. And that really builds on today's episode, because for a lot of us who were parentified, sensitivity had to be masked very early on. We couldn't afford to cry too loud, ask too much, or let our overwhelm show. It's called When Sensitivity Wasn't Safe, and we'll explore what happens when your emotional or sensory needs were never welcomed. And remember, healing isn't linear, and we're here for the ride. Thanks for sitting with us today. If something resonated, we'd love it if you shared the episode, left a review, or connected with us on social media. We're two therapists walk into a podcast on most platforms. You can listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not therapy, does not replace therapy, and does not establish a therapist-client relationship. If you're in crisis, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional or call 988 in the US. Robin Green is a licensed therapist in Arizona, and Stephanie Edsall is licensed in Utah. And this podcast is intended for a general audience.